Alright, we're back to do more SCP content. Apologies for missing yesterday, it's just I had D&D, my throat was still sore from that 3-hour long video, and that's just about it. Again, I apologize for not having recorded anything yesterday, but as such, I'm going to try and record 3 today, but I'm probably going to end up just doing the 2. My life just flashed before my eyes as I had plopped myself into my seat and almost fell backwards completely. Which I'll tell you this much right now, that was a right shock. I'll tell you that much. Speaking of right shocks, if you guys check my most recent community post, oh my god, that was so happy. I was so excited to hear that. That was so crazy. Well and truly, like, oh, it's like that's one of the coolest things that ever happened to me in recent memory. Flankers. Hold on. Um, like a cactus. Eh? Rest of these, I want to say from Montague onward. Cute. Um, from like Montague onward is like new ones, no? Anyway, there's a there's a huge number of these things I ought to do, which is a bit nerve-wracking at times, but hey, I do so enjoy reading these files. I still feel really bad last time for how like complaining I got towards the end because oh, speaking of how my throat hurts, here we go. I can feel it coming on. Regardless, we're here to read more. As always, the files I read are going to be in the description below. I would love it if you read along with me. I would love it should you have an account, much like I do, that you vote for the articles you think fit the themes best, you think were well made, right? But just vote as you will, not as I am going to, because that's the whole point of this contest is to have your beliefs and whatnot, right? Reminder: structures, constructs, patterns, and the contest accepts both adhering and diverging. So just keep that in mind as we go forward, eh? I'm going to start us off with Lichen House by Animal Hospital. I reach out from the dark and touch your shoulder. You jump. Ah! I retreat. Lichen House. Oh, look at that. I've never seen that in file. For those of you on, like, using me as background audio, it's like a little collage of images that you can use little arrows to swap it to. Can I use my... No, I can't use my keyboard keys. That would have been so fun. Is this our first save? I think this is our first save. Oh boy, I can't wait. Oh, wait. Is it our first save? Hold on, okay. So I know that one was Euclid. You're uncontainable, or you're like Catter or something. You're also Catter. You're Euclid, I want to say, or are you safe? Expectate, that's why, because you were a esoteric one. This one's a Catter, right? Oops. I gotta go down to, that, true. Sorry. I know I know I should read House right now, but like Euclid. Okay, this one's a Euclid. That makes sense. Whoops. There we are. Uh, this one's like Apollyon or something. Because it's gonna happen. Keter. Inexorable. That's it. Secondary class. Undefined. This one's another Keter? Oh, pending. What did it end up as? Neutralized, right? Yeah, naturally. I'm leaving up foots on these. To the fate of the faithful, this is Euclid? Esoteric, Maxer. A lot of esoterics this contest I've seen. I'm still here. This is Catter, right? Babel. Right, this is a, forgot. Timeline. Archaic. Euclid. Breakdown of egg structure. It had everything and finally was neutralized. Didn't have safe, though. Yeah, didn't have safe, though. Perestroika. Oh, okay, we had a save before. I can't believe we forgot. Okay, this is our second save. And then Nemesis was Keter. Anyway, sorry. This is our second save of the contest. Lichen House. Written by Animal Hospital. So first is a graph depicting the exterior layout of SCP-9000. It almost looks like a six-fingered hand with the middle four fingers in straight lines and the two end fingers outstretched, like in a like a fork with two additional uh, spikes at a little diagonal angle. Second image is an analysis of concrete samples found within SCP-9000 post-activation of its anomalous properties. And third image is two dogs. They look a little bit sallow, but they seem to be happily eating or drinking milk. Cute things, I'll tell you that much. Lateral bottom processed by IPP, CA percentage. I don't know what these mean. I'm not a concrete guy. I'm sorry to tell you. I know you're all disappointed you have heard of that. Anyway, item number SCP-9000, object class safe. Special containment procedures. SCP-9000 has been removed from its area of discovery and into containment at Site-19. It is held in a specialized hangar in safe class containment wing. Ugh, alright, sorry, I just had a sandwich, so a little bit, you know? I'm sure you know, considering how often I complain about my own fucking biology. Still not sure what's wrong with me. Description: SCP-9000 is a concrete cube with 6 rectangular shafts extending out from its far side. A cast iron door with a sliding window and round knob is hinged to the rear side of the cube, to the near side of the cube, overlaying an entrance into the cube's interior. On this door is a plastic yellow plaque which reads Animal Hospital. Hey, it's the guy. Footnote 1. Redacted. Okay. Alright. I like buildings. You already got me. Oh, traversal. Thank you. This is what I love. Unique combination of field codes. Hey, isn't this... Yeah! Oh my god, every month I remember these things. Does not stay dead, hostile environment, don't look away, don't look, I think that you're being watched. Pray while shooting was always my favorite, by the way. Do not make physical contact, danger on other side. Do not follow little girl, hilarious to me. Do not make eye contact, rooms move, like, all these are so cool. I forgot who made these, what's your name? Toad King, I remember, yeah. Very first piece of SB content Toad King 07 ever made. Originally posted on the forums, got passed on the internet for a few years for the artist decided to give it a proper page. Thank you for checking out the original. This is one of my favorite pieces of world building because it's simple. It's simple and easy to use. You just occasionally make a reference to MTF field codes. That's something that makes both sense in world building, out of world building, and it's just fun. Thank you for adding those. That's amazing. Anyway, oh, they describe what they look like. Hell yeah, I'm gonna keep this on the side then. While the interior of the cube can be fully traversed, each of the shafts are filled with concrete. The walls blocking each shaft are labeled with a unique combination of field codes utilized by MTF Zeta 9 mole rats. Field codes are drawn in permanent marker and disappear upon the activation of 9000 properties. Footnote 3 is just describing how Zeta 9 works. They're just like the guys who do a lot of cave diving, practically, anomalous cave diving. Right? Or like tunnel work. Starting from the rightmost shaft and going left there as follows. An X above an O separated by a horizontal line. So an X above an O followed by a horizontal line. X above O, X above O. Sorry, it's me. Danger on the other. Okay, so danger on the other side. And then don't follow the little girl. Hey, I know there's or do not follow the bait. I know there are footnotes, but I like playing. I like doing the. You get it. Two horizontal lines with an X through them, followed by a figure instead of a crescent shape. Two horizontal lines with an wait. Okay, two horizontal lines. Two horizontal lines with an X between them, meaning unsafe place, and a figure in a crescent shape. I presume is stay in the darkness. Whoops. My mouse pad space isn't very high. Unsafe place and stay in the darkness. Yes! A squiggled line next to a straight line, followed by two stick figures connected to their arms. Squiggled line followed by a straight line. Squiggle? Okay, so I mean I can just look for the squiggle. And then look for the straight line. Do you mean, does that mean someone else is here and then stay together? No, space reality distortion. Uh, is that one unique? A squiggled line next to a straight line. Space reality distortion. I don't see that one here. Oh, how have I been so daft? There it is. I apologize. Sorry. A stick figure with an X to its head, followed by two circles connected with a horizontal line. A stick figure with X to its head is it doesn't stay dead, correct? No. It is not human, followed by two circles connected by a horizontal line. It's not human. Two circles, two circles, two circles. It says connected by a horizontal. Does that mean do not make eye contact? But it's meaning you're being. How do I miss these so fucking easily? I'm so sorry. Uh, you are not. It is not human, and you're being watched. A stick figure with an X through its head, followed by a stick figure. Okay, so you're not. You are not being. You are. It is not human, followed by a stick figure with a horizontal line through its head, which does mean does not stay dead. So it's not human, doesn't stay dead. Stylized, strong mouth, many jagged teeth. That means hostile being. So it's saying It's saying that this is an unsafe place. Don't follow the bait. Right? No wait. So danger on the other side. Do not follow the bait. Unsafe place. Stay in the darkness. Does that mean unsafe place to stay? No, no. Unsafe place, so stay in the dark. This one is space reality distortion. So stay connected together and all that. It's not human. It's watching you. It's not human. It doesn't stay dead. It's a hostile being. Okay. That's such a neat thing to put in your file. Oh my god, I love that so much. If I wasn't bought in, I am now. When an individual enters SCP-9000 unobserved and closes the door behind themselves, the walls to each shaft vanish. In their place, a series of non-Euclidean tunnels form extending past the exterior dimensions of SCP-9000. These tunnels appear to be moving along a straight line during traversal. Though a specific time spent moving and distance varies, the tunnel will invariably lead to a large atrium. The atrium is constructed of concrete is constructed of concrete, like the rest of SCP-9000, but its height and width expand past what is visible by the human eye or through the use of recording devices. Okay. Shafts of light are often observed descending from an unseen ceiling. Exploration log. For the mission attached below, Zeta-9 Agent Alpha 5 was equipped with a live feed body camera. MTF Zeta-9 was stationed in the hangar outside of SCP-9000, viewing Alpha 5's progress through a command terminal. Okay, so a lot of people talking. Camera feed activates inside of SCP-9000, facing away from the entrance. Light from the hangar outside is visible, as is the shadow of Alpha 5. Alpha 5's hands enter the frame as he manually adjusts the camera, decreasing the zoom. Alpha 5, audio check. Delta 3, we heard you loud and clear, 5s. Thanks. Alpha 5 readjusts the camera again, decreasing zoom further. Gamma 4, what are you doing in there, 5s? Just some quick readjustments. Can I get a visual check? Gamma 4, we can see you just fine. Delta 3, you look great, don't worry about it. Alpha 5, yeah, great bit, guys. He turns around, facing the entrance to SCP-9000. Outside, Delta 3, Gamma 4, Beta 4, and the command terminal are visible. Delta 3 is standing in front of the terminal, while the other two stand behind it. Gamma 4, look, there's, Swires? Saoirse. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's the dude's name. Fuck. Sours? Sours? I can't say that. Gamma 4 points at the terminal screen. Delta 3 waves in Alpha's 5 directions, picked up on screen, which Gamma 4 waves back to. Hey, Gamma 4. Hey, the name I can't pronounce. Delta 3. Hey, Vern. Alpha 5. Thanks. Delta 3 retreats behind the command terminal to join the others. Game 4. We're all clear on our end, 5s. You're good to go. Alpha 5 turns away from the entrance and takes a step forward. An additional shadow appears on the wall in front of him. That of Beta 4. Beta 4 is his arm. Closing. Light disappears. Alpha 5 turns to face the now closed door, then covers his camera with his hand. There is rustling. He lifts his hand off the camera. He stands facing 6 shafts. They stretch out in the darkness. Alpha 5. Gulp. Okay. Delta 3. Alright, buddy, you know which one we're having you go down today? Alpha 5. The one with the teeth. Delta 3. The one with the teeth. Alpha 5 turns and walks to the leftmost shaft, then stands at the threshold. He places his hand on the left wall and starts walking forward. He angles the camera forward. On the recording, it appears he is beginning to walk up a steep incline. Cracks in the floor become visible. Dust particles are kicked up in his wake. He puts his hand over the camera, then adjusts it, manually zooming in. Lifts the camera up, and a single stream of light is visible. Alpha 4. Oh, there it is. That was quick. Delta 3. Nice. Alpha 5 does not move. Delta 3. 5s, what are you doing? Alpha 5. I really don't want to go. The group laughs over the radio. Delta 3. At least get into this atrium. Can you do that for me, at least, 5s? Alpha 5 takes a step forward. Gamma 4. Come on, 5. Just a little further. Delta 3. Captain Abasova would do it. Alpha 5 bristles while Gamma 4 laughs. Though she continues laughing, her laughter temporarily becomes muffled. Alpha 5 walks briskly into the atrium, stepping around the beam of light. More beams of light become visible. He looks around. He's now within the atrium of SCP-9000. Delta 3. Hey, there we go. Nice. Gamma 4. Very nice. Alpha 5 exhales and walks forward. Delta 3. God damn, I miss Abasova. Gamma 4. Alpha 1. Shit. Delta 3. I miss her. Gamma 4. Yeah, me too. Alpha 5's breathing is going louder. He sidesteps around beams of light as they come upon him. Dust is kicked around in his wake. Delta 3. You ever hear the story of how they find this thing? Beta 4. No, what is it? Beta 4. Let's hear it. Delta 3. Yeah, so the story goes that when they first found it, it wasn't the same as it is now. This was back in the real early days of the Foundation when we didn't really know anything, right? Hadn't even come up with terms to describe these things yet. Say when they first discovered this one, they classified it as the original SCP-900. I don't know if is there 900 archived? How do I find the archive stuff? I always forget. I'm not gonna bother checking. You know what? I'm gonna check. Dash arc. Nope, we're just going in terms of upvotes, because, yeah, for some reason. Arc. Yep. No. I know there's like archived stuff, I just can't never remember how to find it. I'm wondering if there's like an actual, like, that's a genuine. Sorry, I'm just drinking. Game before. Oh, wow. Delta 3. Site 19 had just been commissioned, biggest site in the Midwest. Built to maintain thousands and thousands of anomalies. Zeta 9 was just formed, Alpha 1, Beta 1, you know, the whole original group. Zeta 9 was called off site to a remote little rural village in the Appalachians. People in town had been going missing, and they showed up again. Heads, arms, fingers, legs torn off. Dead. So, whole team dispatched, disguised as FBI. Enter this dinky little town, and the residents tell them, it's the werewolves! This place has been a breeding ground for werewolves for 20 years. So Captain Abasova takes Vesta, that's Beta 1, and they head off to the mines at the edge of town. Do this because it's said there's an altar to Satan somewhere out in the mines. Altar is where the werewolves go to pray during the day when they ain't hunting. Just Abasova and Resta going out. Beta 4 grunts. Delta 3. Coincidentally, too, this is where the worst of this... Coincidentally, too, this is where a lot of the worst slayings happen. There they found a teenager with her hands were bitten clean off. Her dad, a few days later, was found with his head torn off, and the head was a few feet away. A lot of dogs got bit up there, missing legs and stuff. The worst of the retelling suggests very possibly they found a half-eaten baby. Really gnarly. So the rest of the team stays in town in case anything new comes up while Abasova and Vesta camp out in the woods. They're daredevils, right? So they plan themselves right outside one of the mines. Tentatively, that's the spot where they say is going to be SCP-900. Little did they know how right they were. Beta 4, oh shit. Little did he right? So Vesta and the captain camp out there for a couple weeks. They're going stir crazy. It's like everything is just stopped. But those murders are so clearly anomalous. Bite marks to analyze them. They got dog teeth marks mixed with human animal teeth marks. Scratches that are made by these twisted knots of fingers. Not human. Not animal neither, and it all just stops. So Vesta says to the captain, I'm going down there in the mines. I'm going to find out if there's anything there. If there ain't, we're packing up. Captain hates that plan, tells her, don't do it, over and over. But Vesta's a daredevil, right? She heads straight down. Captain chases her into the tentative SCP-900. They descend into the dusty old concrete mine. Down and down they go. Vesta's ahead of her by a good couple of minutes, so Captain's looking at the tracks on the ground, all huncherly. This is back when Alpha, the task force, was the leader, so what Vesta's doing is crazy. Captain loses sight of Vesta's tracks. Comes down to a level in the mines where everything is concrete. Everything. Big crack slab on all four walls, no more dirt, dust to follow. Keeps going straight. She assumes it's what Vesta would do, but as she goes, she checks her GPS, see what's happening, and makes sure she's still in her world. Alpha 5 turns momentarily, looking at his tracks in the dust. Level 3. And it shows her looping back on herself over and over. Never seems to move out of this hallway it's detecting, even though she's moving forward. She gets panicky, she gets scared. Who wouldn't, right? So she runs forward, keeps running, throwing off things that weigh her down, her overcoat, her guns, even her fucking boots. She just runs, she's panting, she's sweating, the walls are closing on her, she screams, Vesta! Alpha 5 jumps and stumbles. Level 3. Oh, sorry, Fives. Team laughs, except for Alpha 5. After a moment, he continues walking. Level 3. Forgot about you for a second. In any case, she screams for Vesta. It's like the walls start to shift around and close it behind her, so she books it sideways, closes her eyes, praying to God. Just keeps running and running, don't stop. Feels like she's going up a hill, and there's light, and claps her hands together loud enough for it to be picked over Alpha 5's transmitter. She's out. Alpha 5 sighs. Delta 3. Of course, she's out of her mind about it. Her beta's gone. It's tragic. She has them, the Foundation, us, dig this thing up, and it turns out it's a dinky little concrete cube just halfway buried in the grass mounds, make it look like the mine entrance. Swears up and down this was causing this land somehow. Then they lift it out. Do their test, throw some D-class in it, lose them, whole deal. Find out this dinky little cube is a spatial anomaly, can shift around, reconfigure itself. And the crazy part? Beta 4. What? What? Level 3. Seems like she was right. Nothing anomalous ever happened in that dinky little town again. No more werewolves. Level 3 chuckles. That's not the end of it, though. Built a special little hangar here in the site to store anomalies like these. Alpha 5 bristles. His camera is lowered towards the door. It continues moving. Delta 3. This hangar houses all the evil little spatial anomalies capable of being picked up and moved out. So trailers, porta potties, that kind of thing. A lot of them, you can't just glean any research out of them. They're pretty much useless unless you want to feed them human meat. So they seal off this hangar, shut the whole thing down, suspend the individual containment procedures for each of the anomalies. Till one day, a scientist passes by, and he swears he heard stone grinding against stone inside the hangar. Phonetic transcription. They pop open the door and they find 900's all grown up. It's a cube with 6 rectangular shafts popping out its backside. Everything else in the hangar? Gone. They say sometimes if you hang out long enough around the hangar doors, you can hear it itching around, dragging itself across the ground. Some people say it's because this cube ain't a cube, but a creature, living thing. Some people say it's Vesta, still looking for a captain. Human 4. Jesus, that all true? Delta 3. As far as anyone knows, Beta 4. That's crazy. Delta 3. Yeah, sure is. Alpha 5's camera is faced towards his feet. Seemingly without noticing, he walks through a beam of light. He abruptly stops. Delta 3. Alpha 5, you're gonna be fine. The lights don't really do anything. Alpha 5 readjusts his camera upwards. Something moves in the darkness. Delta 3. Oh shit, go! Alpha 5 spins around, almost falling over. Pushes himself with his hands into a sprint. He runs through several beams of light. He does not turn around or readjust the camera. It is difficult to ascertain what is happening during this segment of the video. He continues running until he's back at the hallway, lighting out of the atrium. Notably, it appears the distance leaving is shorter than the distance entering. Suddenly, he crashes into the door of SCP-9000. Alpha 5 throws off his body camera, leaving it at the opposite corner of the door. It's open from the outside. Beta 5 and Gamma 5 are seen grabbing and pulling him out into the hangar. Everyone's speaking simultaneously, making individual statements discernible. Body camera is deactivated remotely. End log. Following the end of the mission, the camera was removed from SCP-9000. The footage is analyzed in order to ascertain what the team had witnessed. Upon upscaling and slowing down the footage, it appears no other entities were present. Alpha 5 had merely kicked up dust particulate. Discovery log. SCP-9K was originally recorded as unexplained location UE-009, one of the earliest anomalies to be archived in the Log of Unexplained Locations. I didn't know you existed. How lovely you are. I didn't know there were more logs. I'll read this later, on my own time. This is for 9K entries right now. Apologies, list of anomalous locations. Anomalous? Unexplained, what was it? Unexplained locations. Just checking how long I've been recording for. This one's shorter. I like it because it's short, but also like anything where people people are like talking over radio. UE-009 took the form of a single 2 by 2 by 2 meter concrete cube with a cast iron door hinged to its near side. Overlaid onto a cut of UE-009's exterior, plastic yellow plaque reading Animal Hospital was affixed to the door. Interior of UE-009's the interior of UE-009 far exceeded that of its yellow exterior, suggesting a size of 20 by 20 by 20 meters. It possessed a second door on the far side of its interior, identical to the one in its near side exterior. Both doors within the interior lead to a single door on the exterior. MTF-09 was dispatched following intercepted reports of therianthropy outbreak in the village of Sparks Hill, Illinois, USA. Multiple emergency phone calls indicated a vast network of tunnels had been discovered underneath a bridge between Sparks Hill and Elizabethtown, of which a werewolf colony had taken as their den. These reports were vastly exaggerated, as the investigation by the Foundation revealed that a group of feral dogs and wolf dogs had taken residence inside UE-009, which was underneath a bridge out of the village. Animals had taken advantage of the dimensional discrepancy for use as shelter. One wolf dog within the structure had contracted rabies, despite it having attacked several of the animals within UE-009 and humans nearby the structure, prompting many of the calls in the first place. None of those attacked had become rabid. Animal was put down, while the rest were moved to temporary containment within the Foundation. MTF-09 reported no further properties associated with UE-009. It was decided to cover UE-009 with concrete and seal it beneath the bridge. Further repairs contracted to a Foundation shell company when needed. Unknown when or how UE-009 underwent transformation to 9K. During repairs to the bridge 6.5 years later, SCP-9000 in its current form was dug out from the rubble. Corrective procedures were put into place immediately while investigations were underway. MTF-09 were unable to collectively recall any details that could have indicated a continuance or mutation in UE-009's anomalous properties. They denied creating any of the symbols found within the structure. During an exploration mission, Alpha 1 of MTF-09 stated the following. Remember things being a lot bigger than they are. Alpha 1 declined to explain what she was referring to, but referenced her statement while recommending its classification as a safe class, low priority object. Following a containment committee audit, her recommendation was submitted and the committee concurred. This one was a nice short one. We might be able to do 3 today, folks. This one was a nice little short one, which I love so very much. It was really good. It was really good. Look at these cute little creatures. They're adorable. I miss Lady. That's my dog. I mention her every now and again. I had a dog named Lady. She was the cutest little fucking thing ever. Lived to 13 years, she did. I still miss her. Anyway. She was a little miniature poodle. She was a tiny little thing. Laziest fucking thing you ever didn't know. Including considering I'm lazy as hell. I loved it. Right? I'm a big fan of any extra any like non-Euclidean geometry, extra dimensional spaces. That's my shit, dude. And that like folksy tale sort of thing right here, it really does it for me. And then what? And then here, like, what the fuck are they talking about? This is how we found it. It's fun. It's fun. It's really fun. I really like it. It was great. But I want to be a bit more like choosy. Structures obvious, constructs, I guess, also as well, patterns, yeah. Shit, I guess, yeah. I'm so fucking biased, though. Like, I love these sorts of things. Lichen House, you're getting 1 from me. Where Gods Fell by Astral Navigator. Was their end inevitable? And if it was, is ours? Is this gonna be in the... Whoa. A lot of people involved with this. Okay. Um, Astral Navigator and Gemini Districts? Geminid? Geminid Something? I think it's Gemini Districts. I presume you are the 2 who worked on this. Crit credits, I presume are critique credits. Tibika, Dr. Angel, Fire Tamer, Hayden, Hayden St. Pascal, Jezixo, Patrick 07, Anyar, Bad Data, CPT Squid, oh, Captain Squid, NA, I Am Muffin, Penumbral Icker, Penumbral Choir, Matin, Stellyfins, Switchity, Blue-Eyed Fox, and Whack Dog. FAQ. Oh, I'm daft. Alright. Let's get into this. I presume it's like Ad Astra per Aspera or something? Like, because it seems to be about stars? I'm just doing guesses, though. Who knows? Inevitability. From the first FTL probes, obviously being faster than light, humanity has unknowingly imitated and stumbled forward in another shadow. Where an advanced alien civilization has traversed before, humanity's first steps are never truly the first. Stepped. Whoops. There you are. Humanity's first steps are never truly the first. Each step outward, from ships that pierced the void to colonies beyond Earth's cradle, was following the footsteps of a species that we barely understood. This is where the danger lies, not discovery itself, but in the blindness that follows it. We see the works of others, marvel at their achievements, we're compelled to follow, never asking, was their end inevitable, and if it was, is ours. Dr. Hansen, head of the Department of Exoarchaeology. Alright. I am immediately hooked. Thank you for the little preamble. It's very nice. Oops. Notifications. Someone liked my comment. Hey. Once again, go check out that most recent community post of mine. I recommend that guy's stuff heavily. Notice from the Foundation Records Information Security Administration. This file had not been updated following 9K's neutralization. Oh, okay. Dr. Hansen has been removed as the document owner due to his implication in the events of Incident 9001. Okay. I'm in. The archived version is presented below for context until a new document owner is selected. Maria Jones, Director, RISA. SCP-9000, the perfect black body. Special containment procedures. Unauthorized approach or observation by non-Foundation personnel is strictly forbidden. Orbital Site 083 will monitor all traffic in the Bernard star system and prevent non-Foundation use of the hyperlane leading to Tabby's star. Alright, this is going to be very, like, future setting sci-fi. Alright, hope y'all are into that. Not my thing personally, but I don't mind it. United Stellar Nations databases and civilian research channels are to be continuously monitored to prevent the dissemination of information regarding Tabby's star system and 9K's existence and anomalous characteristics. Any detection of leaks or anomalous data requests is to be countered with amnestic measures and disinformation campaigns. Where's the department, like, gaslighting? Where's the SP gaslighting department? Of which is my favorite fucking thing ever that I've ever read in one of these files. That was, like, so hilarious to me. Personnel are reminded that SCP-9000's function and structure are not fully understood. Any attempt at unauthorized access, manipulation, or experimental interaction with SCP-9000 is to be immediately intercepted, and response teams are neutralized the threat by any means necessary. Ugh. All observations must be conducted remotely, and personnel are not to approach the black body under any circumstances. A permanent Foundation presence to be manifested within the Tabby star system to operate observation stations, which are responsible for the preservation of SCP-9000-1's integrity, tracking stellar activity and recording gravitational and energy anomalies associated with SCP-9000-2. SCP-9000, rather. Access to SCP-9000-1 is restricted to those with explicit authorization from level 4 9000 team lead due to its importance of the future of Foundation energy generation. Oh, is this a fucking Dyson sphere? The Department of Exoarchaeology is to have priority access to all archaeologically significant remnants of Group of Interest 10954. It might be. What is a black body? Black body space concept. I hate you, AI answer. Black idealized physical body that absorbs all incident electromagnetic radiation, regardless of frequency or angle of interference. Huh. Black body radiation is thermal electromagnetic radiation within or surrounding a body in thermodynamic equilibrium with its environment. Okay, so a equivalent feedback loop or something to that effect. SCP-9000 is a perfect black body located within the Tabby's star system, approximately 1,500 light years from Earth. Oh, fuck, it just says it right here. A black body is an object that absorbs all radiation directed towards it, reflecting none of it. Typically, they will heat up as their energy increases and emit their own thermal radiation. The black body orbits Tabby's star at a distance of approximately 0.85 AU, which is astronomical units, or the average distance from Sol to the Earth. So, just a little bit below the distance of Earth to the Sun, or Sun to the Earth, I guess. Observations indicate that unlike other black bodies, SCP-9000 maintains a sustained temperature of absolute zero, effectively emitting no detectable radiation across any spectrum, violating the third law of thermodynamics. Its origin remains unknown, though structural and archaeological evidence from alien megastructures within the system strongly suggests it's once of significant importance to an extinct civilization that once dominated the area, a species whose technological and thaumaturgic capabilities vastly exceeded current human understanding. A partially degraded Dyson swarm designated SCP-9000-1 surrounds Tabby's star. I guess I was kind of right. Dyson swarm is a network of solar arrays placed in close orbit around the star to harvest solar energy. Observations indicate that solar energy harvested by 9K-1 is being anomalously directed into SCP-9K. The purpose of this transfer remains unknown. Research into accessing this energy source allows for Foundation use is considered a high priority. There's an image. It's obviously 9K-1, individual swarm components visible in their orbit around the star. It looks beautiful, like a mesh around a big glowing ball. This star has fish nets, why don't you? The civilization that constructed SCP-9K-1 has been designated GOI 10954, informally referred to as the Tecton, per Department of Exoarchaeology nomenclature. All attempts to measure 9K's mass, energy absorption, or internal composition have produced inconclusive or contradictory results. Its surrounding environment exhibits subtle gravitational fluctuations and minor distortions in local space-time, determined to be thaumaturgically active. Estimation based on visual observation and parallax measurements places the apparent volume of the black body as similar to that of Luna. Footnote 4. Earth's primary natural satellite, also known as the Moon. You can just say the Moon, man. Discovery. A United Stellar Nations, USN, exploratory mission was sent to the Barnard's star system in 2182. The research team detected evidence of a long-distance hyperlane at the system's edge, a hyperlane being defined as a region of space connecting two solar systems exploited by FTL engine for interstellar travel. An investigation was launched discovering a connection to the Tabby star system, longest hyperlane discovered to date, covering a real space distance of nearly 1,500 light-years. Due to the long history of anomalous observations of the star, Foundation utilized a front organization to perform the initial exploration on behalf of the USN. During initial exploratory efforts, a planetary mass debris field within the star's habitable zone was discovered, orbiting a perfect black body, designated SCP-9000. Due to the demonstrated evidence of the space infrastructure within the debris field, such as derelict orbital platforms and abandoned stations, efforts were made to detect other artificial bodies in the system, leading to a survey of Lagrange points orbiting SCP-9K. At the L1 Lagrange point, a series of way stations leading from SCP-9000 to the system's host star was discovered. Closer observation of Tabby's star revealed a damaged but functioning Dyson swarm, SCP-9000-1. 9K-1 included approximately 80% of the star's apparent magnitude. Where was I? 8%. Explaining observations over the previous centuries of non-standard behavior. Subsequent spectrographic analysis of Tabby's star suggested its energy output was diminishing at a rate consistent with accelerated terminal decline. The precise cause remained unclear until further research demonstrated the connection to SCP-9K. The implications of a Kardashev 2+ civilization and evidence of a system-wide thaumaturgy caused 9K research to receive priority status. Kardashev 2+ is the civilization classification system introduced by Nikolai Kardashev. Kardashev 2 Civ would be capable of harnessing all the energy produced by its own parent star. Addendum 1. Dyson Array Infrastructure Glyph Analysis. While the debris field orbiting 9K offered very little for the Department of Exoarchaeology to examine, 9K-1 offered nearly endless discoveries and a glimpse onto the history of the Tecton civilization. 9K-1 consists of more than 12 million arrays, forming an artificial corona around the stellar body. I hope that doesn't get me flagged for saying that word. While several satellites have fallen into disrepair and a large portion of the array distribution has suffered idiopathic and irreparable damage, the comprehensive swarm continues to function, collecting Tabby's solar energy in incalculable quantities. Each 1,500-kilometer octagonal array features a single thaumaturgic glyph inscribed into its exceptionally thin, thermostable superalloy backface. Approximately 4K unique glyphs have been documented, though none thus far have shown any relation to previously documented groups of interest 10, 9, 50. The previously documented tecton languages or known thaumaturgical sigils. Department of Applied Thaumatology is currently researching to discover the meaning and purpose of these glyphs in concert with the Department of Exoarchaeology. So it's a joint effort. That's nice. Oh my. What a fun design. Subject: the historical implications of system-wide thaumaturgy. Following the provision of the Department of Applied Thaumatology's report on the first of the sigils distributed throughout both Dyson Swarm's superstructures and their respective infrastructures, I believe it would be wise to consider the symbolic implications. More than 4,000 glyphs have been documented, many placed with deliberate purpose on the swarm itself. The tecton appear to have inscribed something akin to a ritual circle, one not traced in chalk or stone, but one that is only revealed when charted on a stellar scale. The scope of the tecton's intent here is difficult to overstate. Unity of purpose, or duty to the vessel. I don't know how to describe this. Please quickly look over and observe this glyph. It is very pretty. Thank you for looking. The glyph here, meaning duty to the vessel, is most often... Oh, by the way, stay with me. I see a few more glyphs ahead. The glyph here, meaning duty to the vessel, is most often inscribed on civilian infrastructure near population centers and areas we understand to be of religious significance. I believe that these instances can be compared to our very own ideograms, symbols born from periods of significant historical importance, for instance, scrawled upon dusty windows and painted onto our largest flags. Humanity's peace and love, born from Gerald Holtom's nuclear disarmament campaign in the 1950s, is among the most universally understood ideograms. It implies not just peace or love, but a deeper universal unity, born from an event that threatened humanity's very existence, much like the sigil's alternate translation, unity of purpose. These two translations are intriguing in that they are not two separate meanings, but one and the same, a unity of purpose in the tecton due to the vessel. This begs the question, what is the vessel under which the tecton unified? Feed, or appease hunger. Also a very beautiful sigil. Alright, that's the last glyph, it seems, so you can, if you are using me as background audio, you may go. The feed sigil's exclusive placement on transmission arrays leaves little more to be interpreted. Most likely this glyph thaumaturgically reinforces the very process of energy transmission. It should also be noted that its alternate translation as appease hunger suggests the transmission of energy from the swarm to 9K is not discretionary, but a deliberate act of necessity. If we are to assume that the tecton created the swarm as part of a species-wide unifying event, it would be foolish to ignore what is implied by a disintegrated homeworld and anomalous planetary-sized black body resting in its place, whilst the entirety of a star's solar output is being channeled directly into it. While I understand the Foundation's desire to inherit the legacy that the tecton left in its wake, it would be remiss of me to blindly recommend redirecting the swarm's output at this time. However, we eagerly await the results of the study of further glyphs and what they may reveal about the purpose of this grand megastructure and its relation to the black body. Dr. Hansen, Department Head of Department of Exoarchaeology. Personal Video Memo 1. Begin playback. Dr. Hansen is visible, leaning forward to press the record button on his personal computer. He is seated at his office desk. An emblem of the research ship he is aboard, the FS Alto Clef, is visible in the background. Where to begin? Today has been most ignominious. While finalizing my report regarding the meanings of the thaumaturgic glyphs, I find that the O5 Council has chartered the creation of an engineering task force to focus on redirecting the energy of the swarm. I had to put together a hasty warning against their latest course of action there, as it would be the fastest way to get my reservations in front of the O5s. He rubs his temples, and as if by instinct, reaches for a glass on his desk. Oh no, he's an alcoholic. Reaching for the glasses on his desk, he looks up at the camera and sadly shakes his head. I suppose it makes sense they'd want to move forward without consulting exoarchaeology. Who wants to hear about the dead from the dying? Hansen sighs and seems to deflate in his chair. I don't know why I'm working so hard at this. My team and I know this is my last job. I told him about the diagnosis at the start of the project. I'm sure they'd let me coast along, sympathy for the doomed alcoholic. Hansen leans forward and gives a rueful smile. I suppose one doesn't become a Foundation department head without a healthy dose of spite. And playback. You've definitely got me hooked, ain't you? Ooh, this is already getting so... Clapping. This is already getting so good. I can't fucking wait to see what happens. Sorry, just drinking. There he is. Alright, let's go. Addendum 2. Review of Stellar Habitat N843 Archaeological Research. Initial survey of SCP-9000-1 swarm components identified several of particular interest. Among them, a station dubbed Habitat N843. Habitat N843 was determined to be both one of the oldest habitation modules and one of the most culturally important, akin to a capital, and therefore a good candidate for research into all post-unification eras of the Tecton. Like the majority of the habitation modules identified, N843 included the primary solar energy collection panel, with an inset rotating cylinder providing spin gravity to its inhabitants. The interior of the habitable drum was designed as an entire artificial ecosystem, blending urban design with self-sustaining ecology. An automated system opens and closes angled apertures and mirrors to create a day-night cycle roughly equivalent to 33 hours. Notably, unlike many of the other habitation modules observed, N843 lacks dedicated food production areas, indicating its fully urban design with built-in reliance on other sources of food. Attached is a report regarding the archaeological findings into the early eras of Habitat N843. By the way, just side note, I'm so genuinely very happy to be reading 9K entries. It's like, I can't explain how much SCP means to me. Subject: Tecton Society in the early post-unification era. Habitat N483 is quite the archaeological treasure trove for our study of the Tecton. We can learn a lot about cultural zeitgeist from its very design. For example, we studied the urban planning that went into N483's cityscape. We see broad avenues with a high capacity for travelers, indicating an expectation of high population with a need for travel within an interconnected community. Biologically, the Tecton species had a similar size to humans, though from what we gathered based on the remains that survived to the present day, as well as their artwork, they possessed a quadrupedal method of locomotion, in keeping with the hypothesized higher gravity of their home world. Their streets reflect this, and clear intent has gone into creating an atmosphere that is pleasant to walk through. Thaumaturgic glyphs have been discovered that produce a particular set of scents, which we'd assumed were pleasant to Tecton, and biologists studying the Tecton were happy to find such direct evidence that they had chemical receptors similar to their own sense of smell. The Tecton didn't expect everyone to walk everywhere, of course, especially given the scale of the habitation module. We found an efficient transit system embedded in the sublayers of the cylinder. Further evidence of widespread thaumaturgy accompanies this system, with thaumaturgically cooled superconductors supporting extremely efficient maglev-style trams, or magnetic levitation. Its layout has been incredibly helpful in identifying the section of the city that the Tecton found to be important. From this, we've identified some other things the culture that built the station valued. Apologies. The key destinations of the transit system seem to be divided between habitation, religion, work, education, and entertainment. Built into the primary habitation districts are, as we understand them, schools for their children. We've identified other institutions equivalent to universities and colleges throughout, showing a heavy emphasis on learning and abundant opportunities for education. Oh god, world building, thank you so much. There's evidence of some sort of state religion as well, with shrines and constructs reminiscent of cathedrals. Ooh, pretty. We see a hopeful culture building a city to emphasize the values held at the time of its building. Of course, cities for the Tecton, just like the cities of humanity, are not stagnant things. N843's long history is of particular note because we can see additions and changes made on top of this hopeful foundation. The earliest strata of construction are remarkable for their uniformity. Every habitation block follows a near-identical template, similar proportions, repeated orientations, even similar decoration. The common unity of purpose symbolism is showing up with great frequency, showing some further thaumaturgic insignificance we have yet to understand. Analysis of later expansions reveals a gradual divergence. Entire districts began to blossom with individualized styles of architecture, vaulted halls in one, sweeping terraced gardens in another. God, it's all so fucking good. While the bones of the structure remained, each community was leaving its own mark. To my team and I, we see a culture secure enough in its unity to promote variety. That's such a good line. What the hell? The religious buildings we've identified further demonstrate the significance of unity to the Tecton. Initial analysis of the text we've recovered demonstrates a long history and tradition. Featuring principal deity described as the personification of Tecton unity, we find as well that there was some sort of prohibition against depicting this deity, directly referenced in the text and clear from the lack of any such images or idols one would otherwise expect. By the way, there will be an image ahead of time. It is like a child's drawing. Look, a unique language. Seems like a family of some sort or something to that effect. The educational institutions of N843 are, by the way, they're hexapodal. They walk with 4 legs but have 2 little grasping arms, right? Think of like a centaur. The educational institutions of N843 are another key marker of this early age in the rise of Tecton civilization. In one school complex, we discovered wall panels etched with stylized glyphs resembling mathematical formulae and narrative iconography. Iconography. That's it. Iconography. I said it once right the first time. Whatever. Fuck you. Artwork that doubles as a preservation of what their lessons for their children may have looked like. Just like us, they seem to have used stories as a tool for teaching, sharing knowledge, even cultural identity. A personal favorite find of mine was in the archival section. One of these schools, some tecton, perhaps a teacher, found it valuable, found it worth valuable document storage space to preserve children's drawings. Oh my god, it's adorable. Among them were simple, colorful representations of what we assume are family units, of a culture capable of building such stellar wonders, and they still valued the charming and imaginative scribbles of their offspring. That warmed my heart. What the hell? In their institutions of higher learning, we find evidence of a curious fact of life for the tecton. Thaumaturgy, beyond the glyphs themselves, was ever present. It seems that some basic knowledge of such spellcraft was expected of the average citizen. Several of the universities emphasize thaumaturgic research as much as or more than scientific research. The thaumaturgy we are familiar with requires high levels of energy, even for masters of the craft. How is this entire civilization making use of it? A question better suited for applied thaumatology, I suspect. I wager it would be the Dyson sphere? Taken altogether, the archaeological record of this early era does not speak for a people driven only by necessity, but one intent on flourishing. The Tecton, rising from whatever crisis drove their unification, poured their ingenuity not just into survival, but into education, art, celebration, and the shaping of a civic identity rooted in both duty and joy. They do it too. They also put the comma before the and when they have a list. I knew I'm normal. People get on my case about that occasionally. Fucking cunts. Their avenues were wide because they expected crowds. Their classrooms were rich with symbols because they expected their children to learn and carry on their legacy. Their institutions focused on further progress. For all their physical differences from humanity, the Tecton of N843 revealed themselves here as familiar, a people who believed their unity could endure, that their culture could grow more varied even as it grew more cohesive, and that their future was worth preparing for. The Dyson Storm itself may be their greatest monument, but perhaps N843 is their most human one. A city that shows us not only what they built, but what they dreamed. How bittersweet to see them now gone. Dr. Hansen, department head of the Department of Exoarchaeology. Fuck, I love this. I already want to go up and put an upvote on this so badly. The personal video memo 2. Begin playback. The scene shows Dr. Hansen's office aboard the Alto Clef once again. Dr. Hansen pours water into a glass before lowering himself onto his chair. If you're getting off alcohol, I've heard juice is a great way to supplement. He stares at the ground momentarily before lifting his head and pulling his chair closer to the desk. The O5s have turned their inscrutable gaze upon my department yet again. They're pushing for access to the energy produced by 9K-1. They aren't exactly pleased with the simple fact that archaeological work doesn't move at the speed of their desire. At least they have the sense not to move ahead without the all-clear from us. Now they're pushing for us to discover what exactly 9K is. That's the conundrum they expect us to solve. We know the Tecton were aware of it, and that they sent the energy of the swarm to it, but for what purpose? The old anthropologist jokes rises to mind to simply say it has a ritual purpose when we don't know the answer. But given the propensity for thaumaturgy as a state religion, and a state religion using those glyphs, there may be something there. But the Tecton are gone. You can just ask what this was all for. Hansen shakes his head morosely. It's uncanny how similar they were. To us, I mean. He slides the glass to the center of the table, where he holds it with both hands, his thumbs gliding over its delicate pattern. He scoffs, staring down at his reflection in the water. They had a great concern for their dead, it would seem. The religious sites included mausoleums. Alcoves within looked positively relaxing to be in. All plush. Why do we give such comforts to the dead? Does it matter? Lets out a long sigh. Let me be clear here, I don't want to die, but every report concerning the Tecton is just another reminder that it's an unavoidable outcome. Wonder if that's how they felt at the end of it all. Did they pray for answers from this god of theirs? You think they lived out their final days with the curse knowing that their lives rested on the second hand of a ticking clock? Lifts the glass to his lips, taking a large gulp before placing it gently on the desk once more. After a moment, his body begins to shudder with a raspy cough. After a moment, the outbreak subsides and he struggles to catch his breath. If they did, they'd probably handle the news more gracefully than I. End playback. Addendum 3. Xenotechnological Survey of Barnard-Tabby Hyperlane Junction Chain. Orbital survey of 9K-1 revealed yet another chain of 154 way stations that act as stepping stones to the Tabby star's system's hyperlanes. While the vast majority of these spaceports served as refueling and transit stations, each junction contained an abundance of technological documentation and defunct technology. The Department of Exoarchaeology subsequently launched an investigation to determine the structure, significance, and purpose and group of interest 10954 Society and the relation of the Barnard-Tabby hyperlane. Subject: Golden Age and Xenotechnological Revolution of the Tecton Society. The very existence of the junctions is indicative of an integral turning point in the Tecton Society. Well, at first I had been under the impression that these way stations served as a route of transportation for the swarm's constructed materials. I was quickly disproven. In the hangars and ports of Habitat N-84-3, spacefaring vessels utilize only primitive thruster modules compared to those stored above junctions, evidence that these stations were constructed long after the completion of the Dyson Swarm. These FTO-capable vessels were built to travel the greater distances and with higher efficiency than their predecessors, suggesting that the Tecton, as their civilization matured, felt it necessary to expand their empire farther and farther beyond the system's edges. While their previous surveys of the Dyson Swarm indicated that its artificial ecosystems were a far more desirable frontier for settlement, its climates and ecology already engineered to suit the Tecton. Much of the system's resources had gone into the creation of the swarm. The raw materials in the neighboring systems seemingly proved to be a strong motivator for expansion to at least a fraction of their society. Excuse me while I take another sip. I use the term fraction primarily because unity of purpose or due to the vessel motifs that we had observed in abundance throughout the habitation of sectors of the swarm are scarce to nil aboard the junctions. The milieu of the populations that were housed in these structures, even temporarily, appeared idiosyncratic to those that resided in the swarm. From what we can understand, the Tecton in this era had begun to divide into at least two factions. One motivated by the allure of expansion and colonization, a temptation that we are all too familiar with, and the other motivated by traditional values and beliefs, a fractured unity of purpose. As the post-unification era came to an end, their society seemed to forget why it had unified to begin with. Similar to what we'd seen in our own society, the Tecton began to lose faith in their own institutions. A system-wide decline in resources and poor resource management showed that what was once an infallible institution was no longer. Duty to the vessel soon began to appear less and less in educational texts, eventually nearly fading away altogether. Those who stepped away from the traditional values of those on board the swarm must have realized their civilization was coming to a plateau, and what lay ahead was only a downward slope. What is perhaps the most intriguing of our findings is that even among traditionalists, it was well known that their civilization would soon begin its ascent. As the swarm's population increased, energy quotas followed suit. For all the technological advancements, even the fusion antimatter reactors that powered the habitation sectors aboard the swarm struggled to keep pace. However, the entirety of the stellar output of the Tabby Star was at their fingertips for several millennia. Why then did they not divert power from 9K to the habitation sectors and prevent what they knew would be an energy crisis from occurring? Dr. Hansen, Department Head of Exoarchaeology. More glyphs. Heads up. Swap over. There's images again. Addendum 4. Dyson Array in the Infrastructure Glyph Analysis continued. After 2 months, a second report from the Department of Applied Thaumatology was provided to the Department of Exoarchaeology. Attached below are Hansen's extrapolated findings. Subject: uncovering the true nature of the Tecton Swarm. Our friends at the Department of Applied Thaumatology have been hard at work. While this report encompasses translations for more than 100 glyphs, there were two that piqued my interest. Danger, or threat. It's so pretty for a threat image. Restrict or imprison. I can see that definitely. Looks almost like a typical glyph you'd see in fantasy anime, which I see clipped everywhere even if I don't want to watch. I believe those are just the two sigils, so you may move back as you will. The above glyphs are inscribed on arrays adjacent to one another with alarming frequency. While their precise purpose remains uncertain, the spatial distribution indicates a deliberate association, one that may indicate that the builders conceived of the swarm as serving not simply an energetic function, nor acting as only a habitation center. I dropped my golf ball. Or acting solely as a habitation center. But instead as a structure fulfilling some broader restrictive or preventative role. When we piece these two sigils together with those of the previous report, the swarm's purpose becomes rather clear. A unity of purpose in the Tecton's due to the vessel, despite its two English translations, either a seafaring construct or a unit of containment. The term vessel can be simplified. Oh god, I'm spuked. Ugh. It merely defines a construct that carries something within. So we ask ourselves once more, what is the vessel under which the Tecton unified? One might believe that it refers to the Dyson Swarm itself, as it is a vessel that once housed a significant portion of the Tecton population, but I would argue against the hypothesis. A vessel, one that requires vast amounts of energy to function, a threat, one that is imprisoned within. The swarm is a battery energizing 9K, the vessel, thaumial in nature. Dr. Hansen, Department Head of Exoarchaeology. Personal Video Memo 3. Begin playback. Dr. Hansen reaches past the camera, pressing a button off screen and powering an overhead light, lighting his office. He reclines back in his seat before beginning. I think it's finally become clear to me. Not the swarm of even the black body, and there's still a lot to uncover there, I'm sure. However, throughout the entirety of the assignment, I asked myself why I'm trying so damn hard to figure it out. I think I finally understand why. He leans forward, clasping his palms together. The tecton begins spiraling downwards, just as all things do, shortly after their prime. What comes up must come down, I suppose, but I think there's more to this decline than just crashing and burning. Pause as Hansen sighs, leaning back in his chair once more, eyes focusing on something out of frame. The tecton surely had an opportunity to reverse its decline. Was their extinction truly inevitable? I think so, but only because they made it so. If 9K is their version of a thaumiel, then they must have had some hand in what went wrong with it. Putting whatever it was in there was their doom. I see myself in them. I tore my body apart for decades until it was irreparable. I signed my own death warrant, and I believe they did as well. But what sets us apart is... Hansen retrieves a print of one of the drawings recovered from the educational institution in Habitat N843. He admires the art and looking at me from it as he continues. What sets us apart is what we decide to do after the news is broken to us. I want to know what they chose to do with the time they had left. I hope, that they inspire me. Hansen drops the print in the desk in front of him, chuckling to himself. Not that it'll do me any good. And playback. Parents always want me to stay away from stuff. Addendum 5. Examination of evidence of conflict. Later archaeological strata discovered in Habitat N843 show evidence of a growing disparity between the factions developing in Tecton society. Evidence indicates a growing Cold War over ideological divide that eventually became open hostilities and violence, attached as Dr. Hansen's report on this period. Subject: Twilight of the Tecton. Cute title. The later strata of N843 provide the clearest material record of how Tecton civilization transitioned from its early unity to a more fractured state, where earlier stages of construction and habitation emphasized learning, civic identity, and collective devotion to the swarm. Later layers reveal an increasingly desperate struggle between irreconcilable versions of the Tecton's future. Do a third one? This one is irreconcilable versions of the Tecton's future. Our teams recovered fragments of research archives from one of the university complexes in 8843. These records describe the discovery of an experimental process capable of generating new hyperlanes. As I'm sure anyone with even a layman's understanding of modern MTL travel would realize, this is monumentally difficult. We have not reconstructed the process, efforts to do so are ongoing. But we do know that it required incredible amounts of energy. Seemingly, this surpassed the combined outputs of available antimatter and fusion reactors that the Tecton were able to bring to bear. Solution in the eyes of many of the dissatisfied of the era was a diversion of power from Dyson Swarm. Contemporaneous civic records show the discovery of this technology was heralded with near religious awe. Possibility of building bridges across the stars ignited a new political movement, galvanizing all who felt that this awesome power of the megastructure was being misused. While traditionalist authorities insisted that all available energy continue to be devoted to 9K, expansionist advocates argued that the swarm had secured stability for long enough. A rallying cry went out and is seen in propaganda of the era. It's time to take our future back. The built environment at the time shows signs of these growing tensions. Transit tunnels were reinforced with bulkheads more suitable for military defense and civilian transit, which we have interpreted as concern on the part of the ruling traditionalist faction for terrorist attacks. Residential sectors nearest power conduits exhibit illicit modifications to siphon away power. Popular art at the time shifted from celebrations of achievement to dreams of future around other stars, with murals of spacefaring vessels becoming common to core. Evidence from graffiti indicates increasing polarization among the citizens of the habitat, with glyphs expressing messages of increasing vehemence against each side, appearing more frequently as time progressed. Some of the final strata record the abrupt collapse of the long-standing balance of power. Government districts in 8843 show widespread structural collapse and thermal damage consistent with directed energy weapons. Particularly dangerous sections even include still active thaumaturgic glyphs akin to mines, which trigger dangerous effects when living beings pass near them. We've discovered duplicate administrative records indicating two competing governments existed aboard the station at this time, rebels for control. In adjacent sectors, we found further evidence of violence. One of the transit platforms near the government district showed modifications consistent with being retrofitted as a staging ground for military action. Burn marks, barricaded tunnels, improvised strongpoints confirm that urban combat took place with the cylinder. While, of course, we'll never precisely know casualty figures, the evidence suggests a significant loss of life. The expansionist faction appears to have emerged victorious in this bloody time. Surviving records in the aftermath indicate a celebration of the opening of the path, which we understand to be the project diverting the energy of the swarm to hyperlane generation technology. We have strong reason to conclude that this refers to the creation of long-distance Bernard-Tabby hyperlane. Yet one ominous question remains: why does so much evidence still exist of this urban combat? Most coup governments would clean up evidence of their insurgent origins given time, so what prevented the expansionists from doing so? The coup that toppled the traditionalists was decisive. Expansionists not only seized control of N843, but also redefined the purpose of the entire Dyson swarm. What had once been a monument to unity was transformed into a launching point of an empire that never came to be. Though the expansionists secured victory, it would appear that the cost of victory would prove catastrophic. Dr. Hansen, Department Head of Exoarchaeology. Personal Video Memo 4. Begin playback. Camera opens on Dr. Hansen in his office. He's notably tired, eyes bloodshot and jaundiced. I do believe I get it now. The Tecton, 9K, everything. Grabs a stack of papers, printouts of various artifacts, glyphs, and text samples from the Tecton. The Tecton and I, we understand each other now. I know what they did. Their story is mine in macrocosm, doomed by the sins of their past. 9K was the fatal mistake. They never should have made it. Places the papers back on the desk and leans back in his chair. I once had an old professor back on Earth, and he'd say to us, archaeologists are storytellers, students. From fragments of pottery to dusty burials, you'll speak again the tale of those long gone. That hasn't been my experience. We're the ultimate audience, not storytellers. Our theories are always more interpretations. Of course, those of us who are good always couch those interpretations in the data, but that doesn't change their nature. We're all simply watching the grand play that is history, and I've been a damn good audience member my whole career. Hansen sits up and leans closer to his computer monitor, where his image looks back at him. Lighting shows more clearly the degree which his skin is beginning to yellow. I'm not dead yet, though. Maybe there's a storyteller within me still. End playback. Approaching the end, folks. Addendum 6, Incident 9K-1. Approximately 7 months after discovering the anomalous structures within the Tabby star system, Dr. Hansen submitted his recommendation of approval for the attempted redirection of stellar output from 9K-1. At the behest of the O5 Council, with the consensus of the Department of Applied Thaumatology and the Department of Exoarchaeology, the newly formed engineering task force specializing in, I was just reading back, the operation of xenotechnology, MTF Lambda 15, the Harvesters, was dispatched to a singular transmission array within the swarm, designated station N843-D. Even though N843-D's energy output comprised of less than 0.00025% of the total production of the swarm, this amount was orders of magnitude more energy than the entire Earth received from Sol, making it a suitable candidate for the experiment. Members of both the Department of Applied Thaumatology and the Department of Exoarchaeology were present aboard the Alto Clef to support the technological teams due to their familiarity with the language and culture of group interest, language and culture of the Tecton. The diversion procedure required the precise application of both anomalous thaumaturgical methods and conventional non-anomalous engineering. The full redirection of SCP-9K was anticipated to take more than 4 days. Initially, the diversion of energy from 9K seemingly produced no adverse effects. After 14 hours, members of Lambda 15 observing 9K reported an increase in gravitational and spatio-temporal anomalies emanating from the central black body. The head of the Department of Applied Thaumatology began to express concerns about 9K stability, whereas Dr. Hansen assured engineering personnel the anomalies would be localized in the immediate to the immediate area around the black body. After just 2 more hours, the entirety of SCP-9000's orbital debris field was consumed by the black body, as it had nearly doubled in size. Observational instruments on board the Alto Clef began to malfunction, reading impossible temperatures below absolute zero, then immediately spiking to unmeasurable highs. As the apparent temperature of 9K fluctuated, it began to emit radiation across every known spectrum, flashing brightly across the entire system. Its previously spherical shape began to contort and flow like a liquid. Due to the rapid non-stop expansion of SCP-9K and the growing reach of its anomalous effects, the O5 Council ordered the reversal of the energy aversion process. Due to the regressive nature of the process, a complete energy redirection back to 9K would take another 16 hours. Lambda 15 began the reversal. Shells were dispatched to assist in evacuation for any personnel in the case that 9K's expansion could not be stopped. After just 2 more hours, 9K's expansion ceased. However, its gravitational and spatial temporal anomalies continued to manifest. Its temperature fluctuated even more rapidly than before. Analysis of the significant amount of electromagnetic radiation produced by SCP-9000 revealed its interior to be hollow and lacking any conventional form of matter. After an additional 30 minutes, 9000 exhibited luminosity comparable to a quasar, subsequently undergoing complete dissipation. An entity then emerged from the black body's residual radiation, corroborating Dr. Hansen's theory that SCP-9000 was thaumial in nature. Physically, the entity resembled a long-bodied, translucent, luminous mollusk similar to a squid, featuring a brightly glowing core and tentacles of light. It persisted in the vicinity for 10 minutes before dematerializing. The disappearance of the entity was followed by the cessation of 9000's gravitational and spatial temporal anomalies. Subsequently, SCP-9000-1's thaumaturgic energy transference and orbital stability systems began to destabilize, leading to the immediate evacuation of Foundation personnel from N-84-3-D. 9000-1 later collapsed into Tabby's star, and SCP-9000 was deemed neutralized. Addendum 7 within 9K. Subject: what was inside SCP-9000? Aboard one of the 9K-1 modules, we discovered a Tecton museum dedicated to the homeworld. It's been our greatest source of information regarding the original planet. Buried deep within its archives, likely due to political inconvenience, we discovered an ancient etched tablets of religious nature. They describe a benevolent god and willing benefactor of the Tecton. This being's energy provided the source of their thaumaturgy, as evidenced by the earliest examples of glyphs, forms markedly different from anything inscribed after construction of this form began. These earliest glyphs are structured with the reciprocal meanings, exchanges of gift and counter-gift, invocation and response. Later glyphs lose the symmetry, becoming simple conduits for power. Public records show a continuation of rhetoric of harmony and unity. Using the memory of this cultural religion as a touchstone while carefully eroding its details, discrepancies emerge when we compare the official liturgies with the materials preserved by another group. Scattered across the various habitats and way stations, we have uncovered the remains of the mystery cult. I'm going to sip water. Those who held obscure secret knowledge in defiance of the narrative of those in power. Their tales and iconography depict chains, siphons, and conduits draining power from an imprisoned god, syncretic with the one exalted in the official religion. We must approach these records with caution, as dissidents are no less prone to bias than their rulers. But the consistency of their symbolism across great distances of time suggests that they preserved at least fragments of hidden truth. There is clear evidence of efforts taken by Tecton cultural leadership to reduce religiosity among the peoples living aboard the habitation modules. Institutions compliant with the dominant narrative were subtly supported, while heterodox ones were quietly undermined. Tools of empire, namely curation, omission, and selective patronage, were deployed to bury the origins of their growing thaumaturgical mastery. Why did they do this cover-up? We can only speculate. Perhaps they feared that open acknowledgement of their betrayal, chaining their god and feeding parasitically upon it, would have shattered their fragile unity. Or perhaps they sought to protect themselves and their legacy. May have hoped that when their children's children reaped the consequences of their actions, their ephemeral legacy would remain untouched thanks to an attempt to shift the blame to fate and away from their willful hands. The end followed inevitably. When expansionist movements diverted power from 9K to fuel their new hyperlane tech, the bindings and extraction mechanisms of 9K weakened. Thaumaturgical systems overloaded and collapsed across the Tecton homeworld, where it had long since been deeply integrated across all facets of existence. Protective wards failed, rituals dissolved mid-performance, and anomalous catastrophes multiplied. In desperation, the Tecton redirected power flows back to 9K, but damage was done. Thaumaturgic instability created a chain reaction that resulted in the destruction of their homeworld. Their civilization never recovered from this event. After all, their metaphorical Garden of Eden, the ecosystem for which they had evolved, was gone forever, and it was their fault. I cannot escape the parallels. The Tecton faced their end and they chose denial. They tightened their chains, buried the truth, and tried to cling to the dreams of an eternal empire, even as their society and eventually the entire species collapsed around them. I, too, am dying. For a time I thought I might ignore the consequences, simply act as if life would go on, but studying the Tecton has stripped me of that illusion. Their silence did not save them. Their denial condemned them. The question before was the same that lies before me. What does one do in the face of the inevitable end? The Tecton answered this question by clinging to their denial until they faded out of this universe. I choose to answer differently. I choose to end a millennia-long injustice. By the time you are reading this, I have already given the go-ahead to attempt to redirect power of SCP-9000-1. I am fully aware that this will release the entity within. I suspect the Dyson Swarm will fail at the loss of its thaumaturgic processes, and I imagine I'll face severe reprimands from the O5 Council. The Foundation may endure or it may not, but at least this once we will have unmade justice rather than preserved it. Dr. Hansen, a dying man who still matters. There's tears in my eyes. And I got a full body chill. Yeah, there's tears in my eyes. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Thank you very much. I'm gonna check how long I've been recording. An hour 14. We could do a third one, but if this one isn't like, if this one's a bit more jokey, who knows? Oh, this one's short too. Okay, we'll do a third one. What fuck? That one brought tears to my eyes. Astral Navigator. And Gemini Districts. I think that's how you say your name. You both did amazing work. Thank you kindly. Rich Witch Flitch Trials by Astral Navigator. Finished the second. Tears. Damn. Look, can I just sit here for a moment? You mind sitting here with me in silence for a bit? Okay. I felt overdramatic doing that, but damn, that was good. And when I mean it was good, I mean fuck. That was good. Like a real sort of right here, you know? A real genuine, like. Alright. Let's now read Rich Witch Flitch Trials by Zin. Item number SCP-9000. Object class Keter. Special continuing procedures. The privately owned Society for the Preservation of Castles Foundation Front has been established to ensure guardianship of locations associated with the SCP-9000 manifestation. A dedicated fund has been allocated to SCP-9000 Project for tasks such as grounds upkeep and misinformation campaigns. As of currently, the Foundation has been entrusted with the information pertaining to 2 sites confirmed to be consistently used for ritual. Current agreement with the local anomalous communities is that access will be granted to further locations depending on the success of current responsibilities. Image is shown as redacted castle ruins, one place of SCP-9000 manifestation, held in Foundation safekeeping. It's as described, castle ruins surrounded by trees. Yep, there it is. Foundation personnel assigned to SCP-9000 are to maintain close communication with regional associates of the Serpent's Hand group of interest. During leap years, a roster of past and present Flitch claimant couples, as well as the outcome of their trials, is to be maintained and updated on a monthly basis. Any further documentation or update of such regarding SCP-9000, including this file, must be reviewed and approved by Serpent's Hand Associates before it may be added to official records of the anomaly. This is a lot more like cooperation with Serpent's Hand than you see in typical files. I like this so far. Description: SCP-9000 is an anomalous variant of the Flitch of Bacon custom, which originated in the 13th century Little Dunmow, village of rural Essex, England. The non-anomalous tradition, practiced in Britain and once in the United States of America, involves a wedded couple convincing a ceremonial jury that they have not regretted their marriage for a year. What? Successful claimants swear a specific Flitch oath and are awarded a Flitch of Bacon, hence the name Flitch Trials. Modern variants involve a more public spectacle, including a procession, traditional outfits, and successful petitioners being carried on a chair around the village. The ritual to invoke 9K differs from Dunmow custom in following ways. Rather than taking place in a human settlement, 9K only manifests in forested areas in close proximity to castles or castle-like structures that have stood for at least 7 centuries. Footnote 1. It is believed that castle ruins will still suffice with the condition. Communication from the hand indicate so long as there are jury willing and somewhere for the jury to sit, trial can be initiated, including in countries that are outside the European and North American continents. 9K trials can be invoked at any time during a leap year, so long as both partners of the couple and 3 non-jury witnesses are present in a location suitable for the ritual. The jury that the judge's claimants are is composed. The jury that the judge's claimants is composed of is the jury that judge's claimants is composed of 7 members. What? All of whom are members of high standing in the local anomalous community. In that case, begun with when both wedded members swearing a portion of the traditional Flitch oath rather than concluding the event with the oath. Footnote 2. In 12 month and a day, repented not thought in any way. Successful claimants do not receive a portion of bacon, rather a large slab of wood upon which assorted high-value edible fungi are actively growing. Footnote 3. Primarily truffles, in addition to mushrooms such as matsutake and morels. Highly unusual for such species to grow together. It's believed that the flitch of the wood is anomalous. Addendum 9K1. Following Foundation intervention to preserve historical sites where 9K instances have previously been held, Hand Ambassadors permitted researchers assigned to 9K to conduct an informal interview involving 3 interviewees from the novice community. Quick session was held in interest of helping 9K custodians to better understand the background of the custom. All interviewees were confirmed to have undergone 9K trial at least once. All had agreed to provide testimony if their responses were transcribed from memory at the conclusion of the interview and not recorded live in any manner. More water. Due to this condition, a different interviewer is assigned to ask each question in the interview. All interviewee responses have been recorded by hand from respective interviewers' collection. That's an interesting method of going about it, but tricky. I like that. That's cute. Question 1. I'll just take questions because that's pretty much what it is. Have you ever successfully claimed a flitch from trial? Respondent A. 3 times as we were growing, then we stopped the going, let the younger generations have a turn of the celebrations. Respondent B. No. Respondent C. Just the one. We've been hoping to go again now that you become involved. Might be able to make that happen, huh? Question 2. Are you still married to the partner you stood with for the first flitch trial? Respondent A. Married, yes. Happy, yes. At least most days, that is my guess. Respondent B. No. Respondent C. Thankfully I am. Question 3. Do you think you learned anything from undergoing the trial? Respondent A. A juror told us something nice soon as we had gone there thrice. We prepared for a lifetime shared, they made it true with the numbers paired. Mortal born, spirit begot, the difference now matter not. Our years and days now perfect matched until the day that death is dispatched. Respondent B. Clean the clutter, abundance will flow in. I need a partner who respects my space, if any partner at all. Respondent C. My extended family used to call it rich witch flitch trials. Turns out most participants these days aren't witches at all, even rich. Still a lot of powerfully talented mums and nans out there, though. Can't tell you how relieved my wife was to get the flitch. Some couples immediately call it quits if the jury turns them down, see? And the more failures, the more whispers that love is fading, the magic's fading. Question 4. You think the flitch trial should be preserved? Respondent A. Like to keep it as is, but not a thing I'd miss. Convincing me depends on whether we someday get something better. Respondent B. It is our duty to prove that other people we're still capable of years' love. Is it our duty to prove to other people we're still capable of a year's love? Used to be a high courts only practice, still hard for common folk to sit a flitch jury. More meaningful ways to honor a bond. Respondent C. Why shouldn't we try to keep a tradition alive that rejoices a love that lasts? Question 5. Why did you and your partner decide to participate in the trials? Respondent A. For the feelings, for the fun, just say it was done. Sometimes the timing's right, sometimes the timing's shite. Love is, love was, love does. Respondent B. And it's what Mother wanted. Respondent C. Why not give it a go? Just for those, not just for those getting the flitch, but for those giving as well. The world's changed much, and it's more a question of will you love it all rather than will you lose your love. Flitches are still handed out, even if it's just one tree. Even if it's just at one tree, the one castle, somewhere out there thousands of years in, still waits and lives in hope that they may be on the jury one more time and just one more love story, and hear just one more love story. Addendum 2. While 9K trials as traditionally undertaken by individuals of high standing, significant wealth, and or notable accomplishment in the novice community, more recent accounts indicate a growing number of couples successfully claiming the fungal flitch despite one or both partners having no familiar relation to such persons. As such, the interest of preserving the 9K ritual, Foundation has petitioned Serpent's Hand for consideration of allowing research employees to participate. Permission was eventually granted for 3 Foundation designated couples and their witnesses to participate at no 9K protected sites per trial year. However, it was brought to the attention that of partners and witnesses selected that the majority of the personnel were unable to physically see the jurors judging them. Footnote 4. Serpent's Hand notes This is not the first time such an occurrence happened, given the prominent magic practitioners have married outside of married outside the anomalous community before. However, first time such an instance was related to an increase in child participation, not a decrease. In these cases, even when a flitch was rewarded, the monetary value of the fungus granted was known to be significantly less than those given to couples who were able to perceive all members of the jury. Footnote 5. In rare cases, lower quality flitch provided through 9K included the fungus growing on clearly defined halves of the wooden slab rather than a continuous mass and more difficult to portion out between two separate individuals. 9K research team will continue to revise the questionnaires for determining trial eligibility in the interest of maintaining the invitation to send attendees to 9K invocations. Addendum 3. It has not yet been officially determined whether the fungus flitch granted to the successful couples should be fully allocated to the claimants or surrendered to the research team for analysis. Up to this point, 9K team has been handling the matter on a case-by-case basis. Shit, I like any ritual. It was rather short, but that's not a bad thing. It did what it wanted to do. I've never heard of this, so it taught me thing. Let's just check real quick. Structures have crumbled, right? Constructs. I don't. Bit vaguer patterns, yeah. It's there. Definitely meets the criteria, and I did like it. It was cute. Short and cute. Yep, I'll give it an up. I want to be picky, but I feel bad being picky, so I end up giving up a lot. Dawn of Darkness by Dr. Scrappy. If it's too long, we're not doing a fourth. We're not doing a fourth. Not. Well, we are doing it today, just not now. My voice is still sore. Talked a lot yesterday. Fuck me, this is just like... Astral Navigator, Gemini Districts. Like, fuck. Fuck. That was just like... Fuck. You know? Lycan House was nice too, but this stole the show, I feel. But hey, we did a hat trick today. Managed a few. Still feel bad for like being really snappy yesterday, so I'll give like my opinions on that here. Not yesterday, the day before. Oh shit, I don't remember any of them. I was really invested. Wait, I remember now. And for breakdown of X structure, I was really invested, right, with the whole like story being told. Even if I did figure how it end, it was very sweet. I love that they were clearly shown to love each other, despite you know, being scared of the future, even if just a bit. Very well done, even for someone who can't relate. Anemnesis, however you say that. Holy fuck, you are long, and holy shit, some of your like things felt disjointed from one another, but it was overall very well made and did still tell a cohesive story. It was very well. It was very well done. I liked it. For today, Lycan House, I'm a sucker for any sort of extra dimensional space. Right, fucking love it. It was damn good. Short, but it was still very nice. Rich Witch Flitch Trials, we just did that one. Short, succinct, did what it wanted to do, and I applauded for that. It was cute and fun. Where Gods Fell, I feel like you know how I feel about this one. It's just fucking, it's good. I hope you win, but given the vote number, doesn't seem likely. Apologies for that. But you were damn good. You really were. Alright. That's where I'll leave you until next video. Have a good day, you lot. And go check out my recent community post, eh? Give that guy some love, eh? See ya.